Hey everyone, welcome to episode 265, 15 Seconds of Happiness. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. Hey everyone. So before I talk about 15 Seconds of Happiness, which you're absolutely going to love, because you know I love bringing all the love to you guys, I want to talk to you about pocket coaching, which I've been talking about so much on the podcast, about a way for you and I to work together on the go via Voxer. Tell me all your problems and I'll tell you all the things that are running in the background to help you solve your problems. Not make them go away, but make them go from a gargantuan problem to keeping you up a couple hours a night to a manageable problem, maybe keeping you up for 20, 30 minutes a night. How about that? So go to www.coachingkelly.com, go to the Work With Me tab and sign up there. So I heard this speech. It's by Kyle Martin. He's a valedictorian of his class. And he is, if you have to Google this, and I'll put it in the show notes of his valedictorian speech, because you have to see him. He's like covered with cords of achievement. I'm talking head to toe. I've never seen someone with so many cords and bands and flags all over him. They couldn't have given him any more if he wanted to. So he's number one in his class, and he talks about becoming the valedictorian and what that is like, that process. Because you think, oh, he's just a valedictorian. But everything and all the invisible hours he had to put in to make that happen, he talks about that. It sounds like a Debbie Downer speech, but it's actually mega viral and mega inspiring, because you'll hear why.
I stand before you tonight as the 2019 valedictorian. This time last year, I found out that I was in the running for this title. It was then that I decided I wanted it. So, I worked hard for it. I sacrificed for it. And yes, I stressed for it. And I got it. And at our senior award ceremony, it felt so good when I heard my name announced with this title. It's so good. For about 15 seconds. Yeah, 15 seconds of my heart racing and my adrenaline pumping. 15 seconds of, yeah, I won. 15 seconds of being at the top of the pile of all my accomplishments. And it felt euphoric. But there must come a 16th second. And on that 16th second, I sat down in my seat, I looked at my silver stole that says valedictorian, and I thought, that's it? What just happened? Why am I not feeling anything else? To be honest, I don't even know what I was expecting. A parade of balloons to drop? Or maybe I was hoping that all of my problems would fade away in comparison to this amazing achievement. But none of that happened. Not even in my heart. I felt nothing. I was shocked. This was a huge problem for me, and I needed to figure out why. So here was my thought process. Working hard is good, but it should not be done for the sole purpose of a goal's sake at the expense of relationship with others. And looking back on this year, I realized that the stress of this year for this goal in a 5-minute speech was paid for with the lack of attending to relationships in my life. A lesson learned and self-reflection accomplished. Now, I would like you, my fellow classmates, to do some self-reflecting. I would like you to take a moment to fill in a different thing that you strive for and you focused on. Something that you thought was the end-all, be-all. Perhaps it was sports. Perhaps it was fine arts, academics, getting into a particular school, an unhealthy social life. Friends, we are about to launch into life, and we haven't messed anything up yet. Now think, instead of academics taking your focus off your important relationships, it was your career you chose over your spouse. Instead of sports, it's money that you pursue at the detriment of your children. Instead of just the Instagram-worthy picture, it's striving to be famous at the expense of time with your friends because now you're too self-involved. I'm well aware that this is kind of a downer speech, but I don't care. Because a lesson learned should be a lesson shared. Now, I'm glad that I have only made this mistake of striving for something that is in the light of eternity not important for just 1 year. I can't imagine if I had learned this at 50 or at the end of my life. And here's the lesson. Have no regrets in the 16th second. Nothing is more important than your healthy relationships. Nothing. Not your goals, not your successes. And here's why. Relationships are where we get to influence, impact, and change people's lives. Your life cannot be meaningful without them. Now, we are put on this earth by our Creator, and we all have a purpose. Now, how we all go about that, that's what's different. It's different in what college we choose, who we marry, and what career we choose. It's different in the triumphs and tragedies that come upon us. But in all those things, new relationships are being formed. So be generous with your time and money, and a lot of relational issues will be resolved. And by the way, it's not too late to mend fractured relationships. Any friends you haven't spoken to in a while because of your pride, parents whom you disrespected, and teachers who you never thanked. Just do it. Humble yourself. Start a conversation. Have no regrets in the 16th second.
Wasn't that incredible? OMG. That speech rocked my world. I was like, jaw on the floor. I see why this has 56 million views on just one of the Facebook posts that I saw. And what he talks about is what we talk about on the podcast all the time, about how our relationships will be our greatest joy, and they'll also be our greatest stressor. So that's what needs our most attention and most consciousness and most intentionality. Because relationships aren't hard. They just take a lot of intentional, conscious work. And we will be triggered. And we will be tested. And we will have to be unselfish. And that's hard for our ego. And I love the way Kyle Martin just kind of like talks about it. Like, we all are on this place where we have this destination addiction, where it's joy is in the body with less weight on it, with the bank with more money in it, with the email with more friendship invites, to barbecues, to less wrinkles. We think that we have destination addiction. Once we get there, we'll be happier. And he talks about it, how he thought the valedictorian was the end all be all. And then he got there and he's like, this is amazing. And it's like, wah, wah, wah. And if you ever watch the Taylor Swift documentary, she talks about the same thing, about the loneliness she felt when she was at the top. Not that she wasn't surrounded by a bunch of people, but the relationships that had to suffer in the process of her getting all those awards. That was a price very high for her. So that's why we talk about this on the podcast all the time, of how this really matters, this work matters, because this is going to go on for generations, and your kids don't know any different. So the way that you're showing up, they think that's how all parents should show up. And then they're going to show up that way. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. So let me know what you thought about this episode and this speech. Reply to my email, or send me smoke signals, or send me a Facebook or Instagram message, and I would love to hear from you how this helped you to have more harmony in your home. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.